Face it, as a leader, you're going to make mistakes. The question is, what are you going to do about it when you do? Too often, leaders do the wrong thing. This video, we're going to talk about 3 steps to take when you make a mistake to do it right. Often when people make mistakes, they make the wrong choice how to deal with it. People sometimes ignore it like it never happened, or they cast blame on circumstances, on other people, on the situation. They make excuses. The problem with that is when you do that, you don't learn from it. When you do that, you're giving up control over that situation and saying somebody else has control and you have no control over it. You have no power to make it right. That's the danger of blame. Sometimes people lie about it, pretend it didn't happen, or they get angry and yell at other people. None of those are effective. So, first step to take when you make a mistake is to take responsibility of that mistake. Take responsibility. Don't blame. Don't look at other people's situations. So take ownership. Sometimes people don't like to take ownership for different reasons. They're afraid that makes them look bad. Maybe they're insecure and they're doing everything they can to look good. And so a mistake or an error makes them look bad, so they have to cast blame. Or maybe it's ego and they don't even think they made a mistake. It had to be somebody else, not them. But again, the problem with not taking ownership is that you can't fix the issue. Because when you say, hey, I don't have control over this, somebody else does, I have no power to solve it, you're letting go of your power to be able to resolve that situation. And it makes you look weak. It looks weak to your supervisors and the leaders above you. It looks weak to your team. They won't respect you as much when you don't acknowledge your mistakes. Because here's the thing, your team knows your mistakes. They know your weaknesses. They know when you make mistakes. You just look silly when you don't admit it. Be honest, admit it. You gain people's respect and admiration when you're willing to admit mistakes, when you're willing to own up to things and take responsibility for it. Now, you may say, wait a minute, it was my teammate, my subordinate who made the mistake. Maybe so. But as the leader, you're still responsible for all that happens under you. You're responsible for your behavior and the results for everyone below you. So question to ask yourself, were they trained enough? Did you give them clear expectations? Did you hire the wrong people? Maybe made that situation where that failure happened. And what can you do differently? So in your life and work, take responsibility for everything. Take ownership of your mistakes. Number 2, examine what went wrong and learn from it. It's a pointless mistake if you don't learn from it. The thing about people who succeed is they make lots of mistakes and they learn from it. They make a mistake, learn from it. They keep trying, risking, and learn from it. So when you make a mistake, make sure you take the time to learn from it. Make use of that mistake. Whether it was you or a subordinate, make use of it. Examine what went wrong so then you can fix it and do things better. So if it was something that you just did, maybe you just need to do some self-reflection. What can you learn from it? Maybe you want to involve some others so you can get some feedback. If it was a team error or team mistake or someone's subordinate, meet with that person or with that team and then talk about it. Talk about what went wrong and what y'all can do better and what y'all can fix, or what happened, were expectations not clear, did they not have the resources? Whatever it was, find out what the issue was and then work to resolve it. But do make sure when you do that, they know and you make clear that it's not about blame. You're not trying to find the person to blame who did wrong so you can cast that blame or whatever. No, it's about, okay guys, I understand the mistake happened, this issue, let's talk about it. Let's figure out what went wrong so we can try to make sure it doesn't happen again. Boom. It's not about casting blame. It's about doing things better. It's not about looking back. It's about looking forward. Of course, if someone is perpetually lazy or fails to do things that they're supposed to do, then yes, you may need to have a different kind of conversation and see what's going on. But in general, your goal is to figure out what went wrong so you can solve it and make it better for the future. Number 3, commit and take action to fix the issue and to prevent it from happening again. So if it was something you did, maybe you spoke poorly to somebody, maybe you raised your voice and yelled at somebody you shouldn't have in a way, or talked to somebody in a way you shouldn't have, or maybe just a mistake you did that hurt somebody else in their work, apologize for it. Step 1 is apologize. Let them know, hey, I was in the wrong. I'm sorry. And then talk about what you plan to do, what you can do in the future to fix it, or how you plan to keep that from happening again. Or just say, hey, I was having a really bad day. I'm really sorry. I'm going to try to watch myself to make sure if I'm that upset again that I let you know, or we set the time for the conversation later when I'm feeling a little bit better. So apologize if you need to, but maybe not every situation requires you to apologize, and that's okay. You still need to work to fix whatever the issue was. You've learned from it. You know what happened. What can you do to fix it? So do that. What did your team figure out? What did you figure out? What happened? How can you be clear about things in the future? Now, for me personally, I know from the past a mistake I've made and still make sometimes now is that I make assumptions about things when I give instructions, or I set expectations, but I have certain ways of thinking that I think other people think the same way. And the truth is that's often not the case. People think differently. People have different backgrounds. And so it's something I had to learn to be more clear, and it's still something I'm still working on, because I still find sometimes I'm still not as clear as I should be. So in your life, in your work, follow those 3 steps. Take ownership. Don't blame. Take responsibility. Then learn from it. Learn from what happened, and then take action to fix it and then make sure it doesn't happen again. If you do that with almost any mistake, if you do that with the mistakes you make at work and at home and everywhere, you'll be well on your way to getting better and better, and people will respect you more for that than if you try to hide the mistakes or pretend they didn't happen. So thank you for watching. And if you like this video, please just tap that thumbs up button below. We would greatly appreciate it. And if you want more resources on leadership, make sure to check out our website, theexceptionalskills.com, which will be in the description below.